coilover install. I'm super hyped about this. I've been wanting coilovers for like 2 years, so more than due. Alright, so before we actually put the coilovers in, I'm gonna do a before and after, so yeah.
Banks on the track.
Woo! Yeah! Alright guys, so these are the reaction springs right here for the rear. Here are the Fastech lowering springs. Look at the height difference. These are the springs, like those are even lowering springs. Those aren't even stock springs. Stock springs are like way up here. That's crazy. Damn. Alright guys, so now that the wheel's off, first up we're gonna go ahead and do is take off the whole entire fender liner, everything. So that's where we're gonna start. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and mark the toe and the lower shock bolt just to make sure things aren't crazy out of alignment before we go get an alignment next week when the new wheels come. Alright, there's also going to be like a little tray underneath the trailing arm that we're going to have to take off before we do the bolts. You can do it after the fender liner, before the fender liner. Just make sure you get that off. Alright, here's the plastic tray, and here are like the little push pen type things that you come here, pull the top off, and it will release this. Alright guys, now John's going in to take out the ride height sensors. You need a size 10 wrench in order to take them out. Alright, now John is taking out the bottom shock bolt. Freaking huge. Alright, so now we're putting the jack on the trailing arm, basically to relieve tension on the whole unit and the lowering springs. Even though they're lowering springs, there is still a little bit of tension on them. Alright, now is the lower control arm bolt. Let me get under here. Alright, what size is this?
This is a size 21.
21. Got the Carvin R series muffler. Alright, and this is the reason we marked everything. So here, this is marked, the bolt's marked.
The washer.
Yeah, the washer. Just so life isn't terrible the next couple days before we get in alignment. Good?
We gotta take the top, shock top mount off.
Alright, and that's always a fun thing to do. We got the mag ride harness and everything unplugged off. And we have our mag ride deletes. Yeah, they're over here. These are KW mag ride deletes. If you have magnetic ride, you're gonna have to put these in. They're super easy, they're all plug and play. They're expensive, but they're worth it. Otherwise, you'll be limited to 80 miles an hour and you'll get a check suspension light every single time you start up the car.
Okay, so we got the other shock ready to go. We put the top mount on this shock. When you guys go ahead and tighten this down, use a ratchet. Don't use a big gun like this or an impact like this. Just use a ratchet because you can mess up the damper from the inside. So just use a ratchet, tighten it as much as possible to the torque specs, of course, and then just go ahead and put it back in. Just reassemble everything just like we took everything off.
Alright, now we're gonna get a size 18 and tighten the lower shock bolts. Let me get this. There you go.
Headphone users, beware.
Dang! Oh my goodness. This thing is tucking. That's crazy.
That looks good.
That looks really good. That looks.
Have to drive it to settle the
Yeah.
suspension, but that looks
Yeah, it's
good.
probably gonna go even lower in a second.
Just a little bit.
Gosh dang, dude, that's insane. I'm so happy with that we're not doing the spacers right now. Otherwise it would be a little sketchy. But let's see the other side. It's just looks the same, yeah. Obviously.
Oh my god, that's perfect.
Dude. And we'll do the front. Yeah.
That's perfect.
And we'll do the front a little bit. Oh my goodness, this is crazy. Look at that. Look at the rear of the car. That's crazy. Woo.
Looks so good.
So this is the final. Well, in a second we'll see the final. But fitment in the rear, that is crazy low. All right, so we're gonna go do a test drive real quick. But first we're gonna go turn the car on. A little nervous about this. Let's see if any codes come up. Let's see if KW put in work.
Hopefully no dash.
Nothing. Oh! Couldn't get the fronts done yesterday. We did get the rears done. So yeah, let's go. All right, I just want to show you guys how it looks right before I leave. Man, this thing looks amazing. Looks so different. Super aggressive. Alright guys, so what we're doing is we need to disconnect the mag ride. Disconnect basically all the wires, these two bolts, and we'll go from there, but that's how we're going to start this thing out.
Okay, so I loosened up these bolts. I left the nuts still on there. These are a press fit, so you will have to hammer this part of the nut. It's just simple hammer. That's like one little hit and it will come apart. See that? It's a press fit. Just hammer it real quick. If you leave the nut on there, you have more, you have a less chance of messing up the threads. So leave the nut on there and just hammer it a little bit. It's not too much, it's not too difficult, so should be good after that. Make sure you have the jack under here as well, so there's no real tension on these bolts.
Yeah. Alright guys, so the next step, we got these sway bar end links off, all the wires off, all the bolts, the two bolts down here. So what we're gonna have to do now is there's 3 bolts. What size was it?
13.
It was a 13. Alright, so we preloaded this. Everything's adjusted exactly how we did the other one. You kind of just gotta mess with it, see what feels or see what looks right compared to stock, and then kind of go from there. But yeah, so now we're gonna go through this in. Alright guys, so here's the damper adjustment knob. So it goes just like this. We're gonna put it right in here, and we're going to be tightening the bottom first. So we're gonna tighten it all the way till it's tight, and then here you can do your clicks. So as you can see here, left is, let me focus in on that. Okay, so left is gonna be loose, right's tight. So let's find out where we're at. Okay, so now we're at 0. So what do you want to do? Maybe 15?
Let's start at 15.
All right, so we're gonna start at 15. So
there's 32 clicks to adjust it.
14, 15. All right, so that's 15 out of 32, and we're good to go. All right, guys. So when putting it back together, we're literally just gonna reverse the steps. Gonna feed this up, just tighten everything up. Really, we'll adjust the camber later. But yeah, everything's in, ready to go.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Ready.
All right, guys. So we got the front done. Here's the fitment on the front. Pretty crazy. Rear. That's great.